So yeah, can you present yourself? Can you start presenting yourself?
Sure. My name is Frauke Fischer. I'm a biologist by training, and I studied biology here in Frankfurt, where I'm based at, in Germany, and in the US. And then I went to the University of Würzburg and I did my PhD on sustainable use of antelopes in West Africa and Ivory Coast. Wow. So actually, or at least that was the idea. Well, I designed my whole PhD project here in Germany, and when I arrived in Ivory Coast, I realized that the park I was working in was a pure paper park, so a national park that was only existed on paper. There was no protection, no park management whatsoever. So, well, in reality, I did an analysis on the effects of overhunting on ungulate populations. And after I finished my PhD, I stayed with the University of Würzburg. I became the director of the research station in the Comoé National Park in Ivory Coast. And I held that position till 2002 when the civil war broke out and we all had to leave Ivory Coast. I then returned to the University of Würzburg. I'm still a lecturer, or I'm still lecturing there, international conservation and economics and biodiversity issues such as that. And then I think it was like in 2000, I can't even remember, 2009 maybe, I reduced my hours at the university, so I'm only working there part-time now. And I founded the first German business consultancy with a focus on biodiversity. So I worked till 2003. We worked with different companies. We work for NGOs. We work for the public sector. A lot of our work is evaluation of conservation projects, for example, but we do also a lot of training for companies on sustainability, on climate change, on biodiversity. And in 2015, I founded another small company, a small startup called Puro. And here we import organic fair trade cacao from a very small cooperative, cacao farmer cooperative in Peru. And the way we produce the cacao is very special. So we work on degraded land. We established very diverse agroforestry systems to produce the cacao. The farmers own 900 hectares of pristine rainforest, and they agreed to protect that rainforest. Initially, they thought they would use this to enlarge their agricultural fields, but with our special, with these agroforestry systems, they can permanently cultivate and work on the same plots. So they agreed to protect the rainforest.
That's great. It's very beautiful to see how the interaction works so well, and yeah, I'm very proud of your work. Like, very happy to see your work happening, and very happy to have you here. And I find it very interesting how can you connect with different places and do different. And I find out also very beautiful how when you have an outside view, you can also help the connection to be able to start something there. That sometimes if you're just there, like I lived most of my life in the Amazon area, and maybe I wouldn't, like, there are some connections that I wouldn't see if I wouldn't come here. That, like, the connection with you, for instance, like, and
I just maybe to add or complete this. In a way, at the university, I'm lecturing like fundamental or the basics of biology and biodiversity, but this is a very academic and very theoretically approach to it. So I'm, of course, very, very happy that I work at the university and that I have access to the newest science, and I'm always up to date. But with the consultants' work, and then definitely with the work with our farmers, that gives us the opportunity to make things happen, something with which scientists can rarely do, actually.
Yeah, but that's very, very interesting. How I find this will to do something very important and a very that's also kind of entrepreneurship perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That I would also like to go to this direction, because often we don't put these two parts together, like the entrepreneurship with the science and the biodiversity background. So can you tell me about how was this process? I mean, probably in the first moment, like, was it weird to come as a professor to the consulting world, or like, how was it for you?
I think, well, it actually, it all, in general, I think I'm very much, or well, I'm rather a chief than an Indian, so to say, in a way. So I like to get things done, and I like to push things. And when I was working in West Africa, I saw a lot of things which many people only know from the media. I saw what happens when natural resources are badly governed. I saw what climate change means to people, to local farmers in rural areas in Africa. I saw what it means when natural resources are depleted and are used in a non-sustainable way. So, and that, of course, made me eager to change something. And in a way, I got my former boss, he caught me with golden handcuffs in a way, because he offered me this position at the university. Yeah, but still this idea to get things done and to do something about everything, about the loss of rainforests, the depletion of biodiversity, this it was still very much a driver of my career afterwards. And with the reason why I founded our little consultancy was that I actually, with my experience from West Africa, I thought that the private sector needs to be needs to be involved much more in the protection of biodiversity than it has been before. So this is why I turned to the private sector to see if we can make companies here in Germany, if we can convince them to make very serious and very science-based approaches to contribute to the protection of biodiversity. And then with Puro, our small enterprise, for the cacao, this is actually we felt that we were forced to start that little business, because the farmers, despite of the fact that their cacao was organic and fair trade certified, they didn't find anyone who was willing a fair price for that product. So the reason why we started our company was that to solve that problem. The farmers didn't, despite of the protection of the rainforest, despite of these highly biodiverse agroforestry systems, they just didn't find anyone who was willing to pay a fair price. And we didn't want to, we didn't want to that the project collapses, so this is why we decided to start a company. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's very important point, because I was also going to ask you about like how the project started, like in the first point, like when you to make maybe this deforested land. I don't know how was this process of starting this conservation, like this agroforestry work?
In Peru, it's actually a very sad story. My colleague, the co-founder of Puro, he lost his brother in Peru. The brother, after his completing his high school, he went to Peru on an adventure trip, and he probably drowned in the Urubamba, in one of the largest rivers. But the body was never found, so the family didn't have a grave. And then, of course, the parents went to Peru right away to support the survey for their son, but they didn't find him. So the family said, okay, we don't want that the death of our son is a completely senseless event in our life. So we want to make something good out of it. And this is why they started a small NGO to support the local farmers. And they started to support them with social projects, with health projects, with yeah, all kind of social projects, and they also founded the Cacao Farmer Cooperative, and the
Okay.
little NGO also paid for the organic and fair trade certification, which is so expensive that the farmers just can't afford it. And after that was all done, the NGO thought, okay, now the farmers will get a fair price because they have a very good product and the product is certified, so everything will run smoothly. And then that was the moment where I got to know my colleague, and he told me that they were about to fail, that they couldn't find clients for people who were willing to buy the cacao for a fair price. And since I've already founded another companies, our consultancy, for me, it was not such a strange thing to start a new business. So I told him, then why don't we do it? Why don't we just buy the cacao from the farmers and then we see what we can do with it? So it was very, in a way, it was very naive, but we founded our company in 2015 and we are still on the market and we are growing. So there are a lot of obstacles and difficulties we have to face, but we still think that we are on a good track, and well, we'll see what happens.
Nice. Yeah, and where can I get the cacao? Can I get here in your?
Yeah, sure. We have advertisement here. Peru, Puro.
Yeah.
And here you see some of the cocoa products, cacao products on the back. So we sell our product. We have a web shop, so everybody can order from our web shop. Chocolate is actually sold out, and only make new chocolate in maybe August or September, because we have the problem. When we produce chocolate before summer, then we can send it out during summer because it's very fragile and it is very sensitive to higher temperatures. So when it's sitting somewhere on temperatures above like 25 or 28 centigrade, then it ruins the chocolate. So we decided that our next batch of chocolate will produce at the end of summer. But right away we also have coffee. So we have espresso coffee beans, and we have cacao beans, cacao nibs, and cacao liquor, and yeah, all kind of products right now.
Nice. I found very interesting when I first in the first call I attended with you about how the importance you brought to biodiversity and how important is it for you, and the impact of the biodiversity back in Peru and in a much more global scale. I would love to hear that, to share with the others here again. Can you?
I can't. What exactly?
But also like it's.
But yeah, in general, I think, well, it's not that I think it this way, but it's a scientific fact that our life depends on biodiversity and ecosystem services. There are so many services, such as, for example, the provision of fertile soil, which we cannot replace by any scientific or technological method. So either we protect biodiversity, which is the basis of our well-being on this planet, or we ruin biodiversity. And I think, for example, the corona pandemic, which we have right now, even though there is, of course, we're right in the process of the scientific or research about coronavirus, but it is very likely that the coronavirus comes originally from depleted forests. So, and for scientists, it's not I mean, obviously the broader public and our politicians and the private sector, they were all surprised by this pandemic. But when you look at the scientific literature and when you talk to scientists, then, well, for 10, 15, 20 years, they are warning that something like this, exactly something like this will happen. And the bad news, I think the good news is that we saw that two things. First, we saw that politicians are willing, at least here in Germany, for example, that they are willing to listen to scientists. So almost everything, the entire lockdown here in Germany was advised by scientists that work on the coronavirus. So I think that was a very good thing, especially because we all know that the loss of biodiversity and climate change for both events, or the scientific basis is much more sound than it is for everything we did with the coronavirus. So if we could convince politicians to keep on listening to scientists, they will protect biodiversity and they will do something against climate change. So, and the second thing is that we saw that we are, as a society, we are able, to change things. I think we definitely don't want to protect the climate and protect biodiversity by complete lockdowns, but we saw that it is possible to change things on very short notice and to get a lot of things done in a short time period. So I hope very much that the biodiversity researchers will be heard will be heard in the political sector, in the private sector, in order to change something to protect biodiversity.
But you got a point of like the willing of the politician, like the government, and we also face the the situation that the climate change was not enough. Like, can you okay, there was a big a lot of different impacts of COVID situation, like in Germany, the lockdown, and in many other countries as well, like almost everywhere. But do you think that has been done enough for regarding climate change? Are we taking serious like the impact?
No, I think we have a very, I mean, we are now talking about what will happen after the Corona crisis. We are still in the, I mean, especially in Brazil. You said that a lot of people listening today are from Brazil, and in Brazil, of course, the situation is very severe, the coronavirus situation at the moment. In Germany, it's going well. The new infections, everything is going down. So, but now I think it's a very, very important point in time, because, or a very important moment, because now we have to think about how we will build back, or how will we open everything again. And of course, in Germany and in Europe, we invest a lot of money in getting our economy, to fuel the restart of our economy. And I think we have to put all our effort in convincing politicians and the private sector to rebuild or build back better. It's we can't. We have an opportunity now to, with all these public money going into the private sector, to make things better. And I think it was 2 days ago when Emmanuel Macron, the French president, said that biodiversity is an extremely important issue that should not be forgotten when we invest money in restarting our economy. And I think, so this is definitely what we need to do, because when we give all the money to keep doing the things that brought us in the first place in this bad situation, we'll have new there are definitely new pandemics coming, and there's definitely a much more severe climate change coming when we will not act in a different way. And so hopefully the present situation is an opportunity to change things.
Yeah, great. I want to let to know anyone in the group that they can write down questions, and we try to answer here. So if you have any question, please write down in the chat. And the other I was going back to the biodiversity. If you think about, Melly works with a different Melliponini, so the stingless bees. And can you, one can say, oh, there are many different bees that can pollinate. And so, okay, we can say, okay, Melliponini are the primary pollinators of many native forests in the area we come from. But how can we also point out the importance of having all these different, these diverse bees, and not only, okay, this only bee can do all the work and that's it. And that's pretty much about biodiversity. That's
yeah. I think of course a lot of people think that the honeybee is is more or less the only pollinator that's out there. And of course, we all know that is not true. With chocolate, we're in the good situation that cacao is not pollinated by bees, but it's pollinated by midges, so by mosquito-like very tiny insects. And everybody knows chocolate, and many people love chocolate. So when you tell people, okay, look, chocolate or cacao is pollinated by a very, very small insect, and these insects, they can't fly long distances, they need intact forests, they need dense then you'll have chocolate. And this giving that example enhances or makes people sensitive to this, that there are different pollinators. And by saying this, I think we all need to communicate a lot. Scientists very often communicate within their peer group, which because they are measured by the number of peer-reviewed articles they produce and by the number of money they bring to the research money they bring to the university. But it is very, very important for scientists to talk to the outside world as well. And when we talk about biodiversity or the diversity of pollinators, for example, I think I think it's a good example that people can be told, okay, listen, if it's only this one species you want to protect, then still fruits will become more expensive, or certain fruits won't exist anymore. So I think, it's very much about communication.
Yeah, for me, it was very interesting. Yesterday was the World Bee Day, and during the World Bee Day, we made a lot of posts about the different bee species. And at least 3 persons wrote in our Instagram pictures like, oh, I didn't know there were so many bees. I want to prepare myself this year. And next year I also want, because we made a campaign, what's your favorite species of bees? And there were a couple of persons even in the chat that were like showing each other's favorite bee species. And they were like, oh, I don't know yet. I'm going to learn this year, and next year I'll be ready to show what's my favorite bee species. What I found great. So I think Anna sent a message. Do you want to
Yeah, I mean, we explain, for example, that if you have only, imagine in a big city, the only profession that would be there would be a baker. Then of course everybody would have bread, but that would be it. What happens if your toilet doesn't work? What happened if your car breaks down? No expert there. And I think this is something as well, how we can explain how important biodiversity is, because biodiversity is about a lot of different professions for a lot of services that are delivered for free and which humans need.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm actually very curious because there are many faces here that I actually don't know. So can you present yourself, Anna, and tell us your question?
Hi, everybody. I'm Anna. I'm from Brazil, São Paulo, Taubaté. I'm a biologist and teacher
And you can, do you want to present your question or should I read it for you?
Oh,
I can
I
read
think
it.
is yes.
Yeah. Can artificial intelligence can artificial intelligence cooperate to biodiversity conservation? Do you have any example?
You're asking me or you're asking
Yeah, you. So it's Anna's question. Sorry. It was Anna's question. Oh. Oh, that was. Sorry. Sorry. Got confused.
Okay. For example, I mean, we still don't have a clue how many species are out there. And one of the reasons, and we don't even know how many we have cataloged so far, how many we have identified so far, because there's no central database for all the living creatures, all the species of plants and animals that have been scientifically described so far. And I think so we are losing biodiversity on a very with a very high pace, and scientific research follows it on a, like in a slow motion way. And I think that yeah, artificial intelligence,
My internet.
all kind of technological and interventions or hear me, because there was a problem with my internet.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not hearing.
Internet now.
So you're back.
Okay, no. Oh. Okay. You hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. So
yeah,
I cannot,
well,
my internet's not great either, so I'm always afraid of the...
My internet is not so great either. So, but in general, what I want to say is that there a lot of people can contribute to the protection of biodiversity. It might be journalists, it might be IT specialists, it might be, I don't know what, you name it. There are so many possibilities. And I don't have a special idea how artificial intelligence can help us, but I'm pretty much sure that an expert on artificial intelligence can definitely, if we would sit together with such a specialist, we would probably, with our expertise and the expertise of the artificial intelligence person, we would definitely find some ways in which it could help biodiversity protection.
I find that very important, like how we need to bring many persons together to tackle some challenge with different perspectives. So, okay, I don't know myself about artificial intelligence much, but someone that knows will see this problem with another perspective and tell us, oh yeah, with this, I can bring this tool to solve that. So yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
Zachary asked, do you think we need diverse medicine to cure this? I think he wants to relate biodiversity with the medicine with the cure to this pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, first we could prevent future pandemics, or the outbreaks of future pandemics, if we would protect rainforests better. There is scientific evidence that pandemics occur in disturbed forests. So if you have an intact forest and intact prey-predator relationships, for example, then you don't have the virus bearing individuals or species at such a high abundance. It is unfortunately, especially those animal groups that are the vectors for these diseases that feel more happy with humans being around than other taxonomic groups. For example, rats and bats, which transmit or have the potential to transmit a lot of these diseases. They increase in number when forests are disturbed, and those animal groups like to be in the vicinity of humans. So on one thing is that the one very important aspect to protect or to prevent the outbreak of future pandemics is to protect rainforests. And the second thing is that, of course, we all know rainforests are, in a way, they are like a wild pharmacy. There are so many, I don't recall the number, but I think it's about 70% of all cancer treatment medication has, comes originally from ingredients of tropical trees that lived or occurred in tropical rainforests. So, yeah, I think rainforest and human health are very closely related. And this is also true, not, of course, for everything that is related to climate change. Here in Germany, we have, right now, it's, I don't know, like almost 30 degrees centigrade outside. And this is not natural. So I mean, of course, we are a rich country. We can cover, if we have a loss in our harvest this summer, we can somehow cover this. But we'll have our harvests are, or we have extremely dry periods in Germany for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and and this relates to health issues as well. I think in France, in one very hot summer in France, about 10,000 people died due to this heat wave. And the occurrence of heat waves in Central Europe is related to the destruction of tropical rainforests in the Congo Basin, and agriculture in the central parts of the United States is related to, or the rainfall depends on the Amazon rainforest. So yeah, there are a lot of relations to human health, to food security, whatsoever.
Yeah, how strong, I mean, even inside Brazil, sometimes the Amazon area is often not seen, but actually the Amazon area impacts greatly this in the sulfate and in the other areas of Brazil, more populated. And it is very, and because of this impact they felt a little, oh yeah, we see this impact, so we need to do something about it.
I mean, there's of course there are social issues, and we have with the destruction of tropical ecosystems, and we'll see an increase in the refugee crisis, for example. And well, the Europeans always say, well, the people should rather stay at home, but then home should be home, you know. Then should be, well, if you destroy their home, then of course people leave those countries to seek to come to Europe.
Yeah, you say that very well. Another point that you mentioned, it was about the medicine made in the forest. And I remember, I find that very, very important to point out, because that's not only about the medicine being made, like being the source of the medicine, but also in Brazil, we often have the challenge of making that doesn't really exist, of making profitable and taking care of the environment, as there wouldn't be two things. And one thing that actually, I don't remember exactly, like another biologist that I'm actually missing here, I will tell Gabriel that he's not here, but he was telling me about this medicine that actually British researchers went to Brazil and found this medicine in a snake that we have heaps of them in the Amazon. And the Brits have earned the money for the how to call for discovering it. And he told me like how much money it would be getting it all the time, and I mean that's a huge amount of money. And well, I have to say I don't remember details, so I'm kind of just saying like
but this with the CBD, the Convention on Biodiversity and Biological Resources, this has been solved more or less, because there's one part of it is there's access and benefit sharing. So today, if a European company, a pharmaceutical company, for example, would go to Brazil and take, I don't know, some ingredient from a plant and develop a medicine from it, they would have to pay Brazil for doing that. So I think this part of the CBD is a big step forward, because now countries that are home of these tropical plants or animals get part of the benefit from the development of medicine. But still, the problem we still have is that environmental costs need not to be internalized in the production of a product. For example, our chocolate is about I don't know, like 3 or 4 times more expensive than chocolate which is produced in destroyed rainforests, where you have child labor and slavery labor and everything. And of course, the chocolate is much cheaper when you don't pay the people a fair salary, or when you have children that work in the plantations. And the problem is that in a way, those who do better pay the costs. And in a fair world, or we should all work for those I think those should pay that destroy rainforests, and they have those that have huge negative environmental impacts. They have to internalize the costs of these negative impacts on the environment or on social issues, and that would make those chocolates, in this case, extremely much more expensive than our chocolate. And this is something we have not yet achieved. So whoever first, the use of ecosystem services is most of the time it's free. So, for example, the United States should pay Brazil for protecting the Amazonian rainforest, because otherwise, in many parts of the U.S., the agriculture will not be possible in the next decades. So they should pay Brazil, but in fact, the use of this ecosystem service that was for free for centuries. So it's very difficult to change that now. And yes, Europe pay Central Africa for the protection of the Congo Basin, because that stabilizes our climate. But unfortunately, well, we need to work on that. So we didn't achieve that yet.
Yeah. I think Luciana I would love Luciana to present herself. So Luciana is a friend of mine. And
hello,
ask
everyone. Right? Okay. Thank you, Anna. Is everybody hearing me just fine? I never know in these conferences. Okay. I'm friends of Anna, as she told, and I'm an environmental engineer. I have worked in many fields so far. Thank God. It's really cool to work in different fields, because you learn a lot. Not that I know that much. Okay. And I have worked mainly in the governmental sector, for the local one, with mayors, and in a very large and national base. But I've worked in, well, a lot of things, and with sanitation too, and a little bit with trading, import, export, this kind of stuff. And actually, there's a lot of parts of the talk that I really enjoyed. I'm sorry, I was 3 minutes late, so I lost 3 minutes of the introduction. But I got most of it. It's a really bad Brazilian habit. We are really late, but I tried not to be. So I was just 3 minutes late. And I think it's one of the most difficult stuff for us Brazilians, and for the most part of the population, to access fair trading, because the economy here it's really, how can I put this in a in a good way? The most part of the population don't access fair trading because they don't have enough money to it.
In a way, this is kind of a vicious circle. You know, if you pay the people badly, then they don't have the money afford better products, so the people who produce the products will be paid badly. But somehow we need to, I think we need to, then we need some political will to change this as well. I mean, as I said, I think that environmental costs should be internalized in the final price of every product. And then you can make, then you have a choice. Because now, I mean, in Germany, it's, as I said, it's the same. Our chocolate is, a bar of our chocolate costs like €5.50, and the cheapest chocolate you find in the supermarket is less than €1. So our chocolate is 5 times the price of the cheapest chocolate. And this, so in a way, we pay a penalty for being the good guys, because everything we do is more expensive than what our competitors do. So, and in the end, the people in the supermarket say, well, but then I buy the cheaper chocolate. So, the only way to make that fair would be to internalize the environmental costs.
Yes, here we have sort of investments and incentives, but not for the fair trade at all.
But so you are from Brazil as well?
Yes, I am. I am from Amazon, actually.
Okay, you should, or everybody who's from Brazil, a friend of mine, she started, Marita Koch-Beza, I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She started in Sao Paulo, the Rainforest Business School. And the idea of this business,
I'm gonna write this down.
I think it's based at the University of, or in Sao Paulo. So and it's called the Rainforest Business School. Maybe it has maybe the original name is in Portuguese. I don't know that. But if you Google it, then you should you should find that. And the idea of the Rainforest Business School is to make business with standing rainforest. And you should definitely have a look at this, and I can share. I'll try to, or I can ask Marita if she can send me some information about this.
Thank you.
So,
and do you think this is the
unfortunately, I don't have very much time left, so I don't.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, we kind of run out of time here, and I'm very glad for you. I'm very, very happy you came, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
If you send me the link, I have the emails here. I can send the links.
Okay, perfect.
I just have one thing to say. I'm sorry. That's actually my question. Do you think that that's the most difficult thing about eco-friendly and fair trading, or do you think there's something else that's what's the most difficult thing about?
I think there are 2 very difficult things. The first thing is to convince the farmer to work in a different way. For example, our farmers didn't believe that agroforestry systems would have produced the same yields as conventional cacao farming. Now they produce much more than any conventional field. So, but I think that's the first thing. It's very, very difficult to convince. And I think that's true for any farmer in the world, no matter where you usually are kind of conservative, and they don't like other people to tell them how they should change. It took him 7 years to work with the farmers in Peru till the first farmer said, okay, I'm going to try it. So 7 years of work. So I think that's very difficult to convince farmers to change the way how they produce their products. And of course, the second problem is at the other end of the value chain. When you have your products and you look for clients, how are the clients willing to pay a higher price? And some clients are willing to do it and some are not. And that is, well, maybe the third thing again. I think politics need to change the rules so that biodiversity friendly products can be as cheap as biodiversity unfriendly products.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking too. I just wanted to know if you agreed of the incentives.
Okay, Anna, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
You.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, and maybe you can send me, or if maybe I have it already, but the link to your website, and your Instagram account, then.
Oh yeah, I will do.
Please.
It is actually the website is in English, the first version, and I have the Portuguese translation that I'm finishing checking it, and most of our Instagram posts are English and Portuguese, and sometimes German as well. We try to do the three languages, but I haven't been these days that we are doing a lot of things because of the World Bee Days. We did most in Portuguese only, just to be fast.
Okay, maybe you can send that to me, then I have a look at it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye. Evening or nice day.
Yeah.
Since it may be morning. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.